I get asked a lot, and this segues into where you should have your temperature in your home. I do not care about the temperature in your home. We care about the humidity. If it's above 60% for a chronic period of time, you will have a growth. No question, because every time we walk in and out of the house, and as agents and sellers and buyers, every time we walk in and out, we bring mold spores, the common mold spores with us, which is Aspi, Aspergillus.
Right.
Very common. It's full outside. We bring it in. It's just dirt until you get humidity. So I don't care what temperature it is because every system's different. I care about the humidity. Keep it under 55%. You'll never have a problem. I don't care about the dust.
Good.
Dust is just, if you like that, doesn't matter.
But didn't you say the dust is like the protein that it needs, or how does that?
Mold needs two things to grow. It needs something to eat, and it can eat anything. It'll eat drywall, and it needs moisture. That's the killer. If you keep the moisture down, you will never, ever, ever have a problem.
So this is good. So I can be as dirty as I want as long as I keep my humidity low.
You must stay married too.
Yeah, dirty as I need to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can stay as dirty as you want, but maybe not married. You have to fix the cause before you repair the problem. It can go simultaneously. If somebody has me come and fix a ceiling problem because of a roof leak and they're not repairing the roof, I'll turn down the business because they're just wasting their money and their time. It has to be dry to remediate properly, and it's not a big deal. And we've talked about this. The two of us have talked about this. Especially when we get buyers from the north and they've never had this issue before. Their hair's on fire. They lay in the bed. They stare at the ceiling, worrying about this house that they're going to buy. And it's really not a big deal. And we're going to probably talk about ways to prevent even getting to this point.
Totally. So
At the
Dad,
end of this.
I always like to have an answer because just like, John's always asked these questions. We're always asked questions about mold as well on a contract basis. So when, we're going to go over the contract, the neighbor, FAR bar, and defective or non-working items. But the thing that correlates well with what John says is we have to identify the problem first. So even if mold is not a defective item, or if, let's say that's for a later topic, what's causing it is possibly a defect. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely. I look at the mold report as a red flag that there's moisture coming in somewhere. It could be a leak on the roof. It could be a cracked pipe. It could be
air conditioning issue.
Air conditioning that's malfunctioning. What is the source of this problem? Have we gotten it early? In my case, I had a sprinkler hitting the window at one point.
That happens a lot.
So fix that. Then you take care of the sheetrock and so forth, the mold.
Can you tell me about empty houses? What you see when a house is unoccupied for a while?
I see, I'm happy because remediating a house with 1,000 Hummels in it sitting around is a real chore. An empty house is much easier to remediate, but a lot of times they're somewhat neglected. They're not changing the air filter on the HVAC. Maybe it's not running efficiently.
Yeah.
If it's not running efficiently, the moisture is going up in the home. Maybe they want to save a little money because it's unoccupied. They put it up to 80, right? And now you're only removing moisture in your home when your air conditioning's running. If it's not running, that little white tube coming out of your house is not dripping water, you're not removing moisture. Please buy a $12 little humidistat off of Amazon just to get an idea what your humidity is.
Keep on the counter.
Yeah, just get an idea, because if you have a bunch of girls in the house that are teenagers that are taking 30-minute, 40-minute showers and not turning the fan on, you got a lot of moisture and you're going to get a growth. Things are going to turn green. Very easy to fix.
In a number of cases, the mold test has included swabs from areas such as bathrooms, back of closets, and the HVAC system. The swab results often come back showing cladosporium present, while the air quality tests remain normal. So to reiterate, the air quality test came in not elevated, but they did a swab that kind of proved that there was an existing growth of some sort. It is not airborne, but because of the swab results, the buyer is now requesting mold remediation. They put it in their election. Several mold companies have explained that this is common growth that can typically be wiped down and is not considered serious. As I understand it, the neighbor contract does not specifically reference mold by type. And the buyer's options are either to request repairs or cancel within the inspection period. Can you discuss? So I would love for you to answer that scenario and kind of how you handle it, because we had a situation similar.
It's not a problem. I could probably go into anybody's house, look behind a suitcase that's up against the closet that's not getting any airflow.
Yeah.
Take a swab. There'll be something there. Is it something that's unhealthy? Not really, not really at all. Nor is it kicking off, and I'm sure my fellow to the right is going to talk about the legal aspects of it. I don't know why they did the swab. When I do pre-inspection mold, I'll visually, if I see something, I'll probably grab a swab.
Yeah.
But if the air sample is clear, wipe before the listing. This should be done.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I'm sorry, I just gave away my one thing.
Right, that's
Before, please, if you're listing a house, it's $300 or whatever it is. Give me a call. I'll come and do a visual inspection, do a test. And as attorneys, I was going to ask you guys this. You probably,
I'm putting it down.
you probably remember from law school, some professors saying, don't ask a question that you don't know the answer to.
Yeah, in a trial, right?
That's what that does, right?
Yeah.
You know the answer, and then nothing but good can happen after this. I mean, where's the soapbox? Some inspectors, there's some real good inspectors, there's some very poor inspectors, just like real estate agents. They do one deal in 10 years and they don't, and then you guys are out there killing it. Some take classes online, take a test, and they're a home inspector, and that's where you get all the CYA stuff that we talked about, right? You should have this checked by a professional. They're generalists. The one fellow that I'm very close with is not only a home inspector, he's a general contractor and has his roofing license. He has chops. So I called him up. I said, Nick, I might be crazy. I just gave his name. Nick, I might be crazy, but he was laughing because he used the drywall thing, didn't he? I said, exactly. And so I filmed it, took a picture, took a video of everything being good. Trust but verify.
It will have a different setting if it's for a different type of.
Correct.
material.
And it's also the depth. I had this similar circumstance. There was previous water on a bamboo floor. Bamboo is like really thin. And he had his set for really thick. So it's going to be checking the moisture in the concrete, not the floor.
Oh,
the guy wanted a $40,000 new floor, the buyer, and he wanted me to, or the seller wanted me to do the second opinion. It's not wet. You stuck the pins in it, which is the Bible, right? It's not wet. It was wet at some point. There's a little bit of damage, but he wanted the whole house to be replaced. And that's just wrong.
So do you recommend, it's hard to put a blanket over it, but should every realtor have a moisture reader in their car? Or is that asking for trouble?
If they use it correctly, it's not asking for trouble. Ask me to do an inspection with you when you list something, get a home inspection. I'll show you what to do. And I have one home watch guy. He's down in the aisles. Very funny. He's giving me a lot of business. He's pretty technical. He has a moisture meter. He stuck it in the wall. It went up and it's beeping. And the owner said, "What does it say?" It says, "Call John Kuntz." and that's where he stops. You know, he goes that's his limit of liability. He wants, because home inspectors are generalists, where I'm a specialist with what I do. I stay in my lane.
One of the first things I mentioned, which is, all right, we know that the contract doesn't protect us on the mold. We made a mistake. We forgot to add it, whatever it is. What's causing the mold? What's causing the mold? In my scenario, the humidity was too high. We needed to bring the humidity down. There wasn't actually a defect. And so maybe you go to the buyer, as John did to me, and say, there's no real problem, but we do have to clean everything. Let's clean and sanitize. Let's clean your AC ducts. Let's work to get your humidity low. Does that sound about right?
100%. You'll never have a problem again.
Yeah. So that's an education for a buyer. So keep them calm. Don't say things that you can't take back. Put them in front of the specialists and ask, hey, let's get more information about it. So again, FAR, be careful. The mold addendum needs to be added. You may also need a radon addendum if you're thinking in that same realm. You could still get it inspected, even if you don't have those addendums, those contingencies, you can still get that inspected. Maybe you have other contingencies. Maybe it's a condo review period and you've got 7 business days. All right, now we jump to NABOR. What does NABOR say about mold? Is it in there, standard?
It's a defective item, excluding the allergenic molds, the Penicillium aspergillus, which is one of the more common ones, considering we're right next to the Everglades. They measure the interior air quality versus the exterior air quality. And if it's higher inside than outside, then that's a defect.
All right, so NABOR says if it is a toxic mold, and I'm going to have you define the difference. If it is a toxic mold, non-allergenic, then it's a defect, and the buyer can ask for remediation, or they can ask for, I guess, remediation or credit. So, John, what's the difference between toxic mold and non-toxic, or allergenic and non-allergenic?
That's a really loaded question.
I don't know the answer.
The generic answer is Aspergillus is a common mold. There are 5 mold types that are zero tolerance in the state of Florida and generally considered zero tolerance. Those are I want to say the B word, the black molds, the Stachybotrys, Catonium. Those are always caused by a water source. You have a leak in your ice maker. You have a leak, water. There's standing water that's caused a black sticky thing versus the Aspergillus, which is it's literally smoke. It stays in the air for 12 hours, gets through and on everything in your TV. Those are the differences. So the toxic mold or the zero tolerance molds, there's 5. Most common ones here are the Stachy and the Catonium. But I'm going to say, if you're allowed, per the conversation, you're allowed 800 more count inside than outside for ASPE. So if it's 0 outside, 801's bad. 500's fine because we bring it in and out all the time. I've had homes 8,000, 10,000, 15,000. That's not healthy. So anything cannot be, it's like water can kill you, right? Anything in excess.
So we'll give you, this might be your takeaway from today. If you're reading a mold report, call John, get the answer, get his opinion, call him. But the way he thinks about it in his head is, I just want it to be under 800. Because 800 or more, the report's going to start saying it's elevated, right?
Talk about the reports for a second and the different ones you've seen.
Yeah.
As layman, if you will.
Yeah.
Like there's the Dane Lab ones. There's a great lab here, Dane Labs.
I would say most people use that one.
And he has it's called the Home Healthy Standard, which you can elect to use in your report. And at the top of the column, it will be a control for the outside, inside 1, inside 2, however many they do inside.
Mhm.
It's either green and says not elevated or red, elevated. You don't need to read anymore. But if you want to go down into all the Latin words that we talked about, I mean, Isium and all this stuff, you can. But it really confounds me if you can, I hate the word you steer, if you can recommend either recommend that report, because a lot of home inspectors will give you a report with numbers and Latin words that you don't understand. And that's just not right.
Creates fear.
It creates fear.
Creates fear.
And makes work. Your phone's gonna ring.
Yeah.
What is this? If I can get 2 that say they get it, not elevated, let's go.
Yeah.
That's what we want, and everybody's happy.
Everyone's happy. Again, I love the as-is contract, because if your buyer is really freaked out about it, or if the seller's not responding appropriately, the buyer can get out, they can renegotiate, they can do an amendment for extension of to do more inspections. But if you're using that NABOR contract, let's say you're using the standard, there is a new addendum, probably came out in the last year or 2, where it now says that non-toxic molds, the allergenic molds, are also a defect. So in that scenario, you have a scenario where your buyer is sensitive to molds. That's the 4-letter word in their vocabulary. And they put this addendum, and now you think everyone is protected. But be careful, because all that allows you to do is to make an election for the seller to rectify. But if you had a really sensitive buyer, that's not what the buyer usually wants. That should make them happy, but a lot of times it doesn't. So now we can say, oh, see, I told you I want out of the deal. So be careful. Most real estate agents don't explain what that addendum really does. All it allows you to do is make an election.